Hey y'all, we back with Coldest Winter ever, continuing chapter 12. Back in a Benz, things couldn't have been better. Doc drove us to go shopping. She was the first black female doctor I had ever seen up close. Everything she had was high quality. She looked young, acted young, and didn't even get snobby about being a brain surgeon. When we go into a store, she whipped out her gold card. When her wallet flipped open, I peeped she had platinum cards, diner clubs, the works. She was picking clothes and accessories for herself out of the top line designer section of the store. There were items only a professional shopper like myself would have the eye to select. When I seen how she just run everything on the card, I thought to myself, it's like she's not even paying money for it. I needed one of those plastic cards so I could walk out of the store with bundles of stuff in my hands. I grabbed every credit application in sight. While me and Doc shop, Soldier would lean on anything and read her book. Her sister Lauren was playing me so close it was annoying. I could tell she was a sponge just trying to soak up my flavor. She watched what clothes I selected, even stuff I just picked up, looked at, and placed back on the rack. When I put something down, she would pick it up. Her eyes would be bulging as she looked at the price tag. I never liked shopping with a couple of $1,000s to spend while your partner only had 150. The person just keeps giving you the buy me something look. And y'all know I ain't buying nobody shit. What was the icing on the cake was I bought a red leather coach bag. It was a perfect match for that red Range Rover I seen last night. After following me around the whole afternoon without buying nothing, Lauren went and bought the same exact bag I purchased. Shit like that is unforgivable. But I told myself she's not a shopper. She's definitely no competition. So I checked what she did and let it go. Before I knew it, my hands were heavy with packages, but the yellow envelope taped to the bottom of the pocketbook was light. I only had $500 left to my name. Doc had challenged me to floors. I couldn't let her go on shopping spree for herself with me sitting back looking like a puppet. Plus, if you had a Benz, you ought to be able to fill it with packages from Bloomingdale's, Saks, Fifth Avenue, Nordstroms, and whatnot. It all fit into my plan anyway. I will reverse last night's scene of embarrassment with the messy clothes and slippers. GS would never catch me off guard again. The next time he ran into me, he wouldn't even know I was the same girl who answered the door. Dinner was crazy. Of us all seated around, picture us all seated around a large table at Doc's on the third floor. Boxes of Chinese food everywhere. Everyone's getting their grub on. Then the question began. First it was Doc. So Sasha, where you from? Now, they may think I'm dumb, but I remember answering these same questions with soldiers yesterday, so I was prepared. I'm from the United States, I respond. They all laughed. No, Doc said, smiling. What city, state, borough? Oh, I'm from Long Island. Where about? Way out, almost the Hamptons. Oh, that's a nice area. I bought a house for my mother out there in the Dix Hill. Soldier tells me your mom had cancer. I hope you don't mind me talking about it, she said, smiling innocently. Actually, I'd rather not talk about it. I was having a good day and I just don't like to think about it because it makes me sad. Then Soldier jumped in. Oh no, it's just that Doc is excellent in medicine. There may be some way that we can help. A lot of times when people are sick, they keep going to the same doctors, getting the same diagnosis and remedies. Sometimes a second opinion could help. I just nodded my head, not wanting to encourage them to keep asking questions. If it's the money you're worried about, Doc can't. Now, Doc cut Soldier off. If she's from the Hamptons, I'm sure her family has a private physical and good care, she said. But Sasha been living at the house of success where Rashida stays, so then I cut Soldier off. So I don't live in Long Island anymore because my mom's medical bills got so expensive that the family went through a lot of changes. And like I said, I really don't want to talk about it. You all don't have to worry about my mother. She has a doctor and a specialist. Me and Lauren decorated our room after dinner. She was inspired by the jokes I made about how plain and boring the room was compared to Doc's place. Now, I let her lead on the designs because I wasn't planning to stay. What we ended up with was 3 walls plastered with LL Cool J posters, him in every kind of hat ever made. Lauren had some kind of thing for LL, to say the least. She talked about him like she knew him personally. She admitted that she had never been introduced to him face to face, but was in the green room with him at one of her sister concerts. Why didn't you go up to him? I asked. She said, "Are you kidding me? I couldn't even move. I was in a state of shock. I knew he would be there, but there's a difference between knowing it in your head and then actually seeing the person. You know what I mean?" She said. I just shrugged my shoulders. "Come on," she continued. When you answered the door, when you answered the door last night and St. G asked, tell me you didn't freak out for a minute and just lose your cool. "Nope," I fronted. "You're a liar, Sasha." She pushed me down and tickled me like I was 5. We both started laughing as she kept rephrasing the question. "Come on, Sasha, you know you felt a little electricity in your pussy." I kept denying it. "I don't care if you don't admit it, because I know you felt the same thing I felt." "Seriously, though," I asked her, "do you want to get with him like that?" "Word up," Lauren asked. Lauren said, "I'll do anything to jump that nigga Bones." We cracked up. Lauren was crazy. We stayed up all night long talking. "Do you have a man?" I asked her. "A man? I got a bunch of guys." "Why, you want to meet somebody?" she asked. "Maybe," I told her. "Well," she said, "it depends on what you like. Let me take out my catalog." She whipped out a red leather phone book with some of the pages falling out. "I start with the beginning," she said, opening her book to the front page. "What do you like most of all, like the most important things?" "Money," I answered quickly. We laughed again. Lauren wrapped a towel around her head like she was a swami or gypsy or something. She turned a glass upside down like it was her crystal ball. I hollered, "You're nuts, you're nuts." She pushed a sheet of paper over towards me. "Write down what you want in a man in order of importance." So I did. Money, car, clothes, jewelry, apartment, masculinity, big dick, clean, white teeth, nice body. I slid the paper back to her. "Shh," she said, holding her finger up to her lips, signal for quietness. After 30 seconds pause, she said, "It seems as though we have a problem. What is it?" I asked. "We have 50 guys with big dicks and nice bodies." "Nothing wrong with that," I joked. "Yeah, but they're broke, on foot, living with their mamas." We cracked up. Mid-afternoon, we woke up to Sasha complaints. "Lord, get up. You're not taking care of business as usual. Just because we are sisters doesn't mean you should take advantage. The man at the church is waiting for the contracts and the money. You were supposed to be there at 11. "Why didn't you wake me up?" Lauren asked. "Because that's not my responsibility. I was out early taking care of what I'm supposed to take care of." Lauren sucked her teeth. Within minutes, she was tapping me. Hey, get up. You can either come with me or stay here with Soldier. What's up?" "That's not a choice," I said. "I'm coming with you." $1,500 cash passed from Lauren's hand to the hands of the pastor. That's how much he was charging soldiers to rent the church. She was given a benefit for an organization that worked with AIDS patients. When I asked Lauren why it cost so much, she said, "You know the deal is business. Everybody wants something, even the church." "What does Soldier get?" I slid in a question since the opening was handed to me. "Nothing," her sister said dryly. "She has to get something," I pushed. "You're right, she gets an audience. She gets to tell 2,000 people what's on her mind, what is her deepest thoughts are, and what are they should be doing with their lives. What else? That's it. That's what gets her off." "But how does she pay her bills like that?" I pressed. "Look," she said, becoming annoying, "I hope you're not going to be one of those people who takes up all my time to ask about soldiers, because I hate that shit. How does she pay her bills? People just give her shit. She's supposed to pay Doc rent. She doesn't. She's just different. Don't try and figure it out. You'll only give yourself a headache." Within seconds, Lauren was back to her joking self again. Different had to be a word for it. Thursday night, about 30-something guys crammed into the large front of the apartment. There was some who seemed as young as 16, some seemed as old as 30s. As promised, Lauren and I bounced at the last few fields. The last few filed through the door. "Did you see that?" I asked Lauren. Wall-to-wall niggas. It was like an ice cream store up there. Mad crazy. All the flavors. Big, small, tall, short, body galore. I was bugging at the shock of it all. Lauren was blazed. Wait a minute, I asked her. Are any of them in your red book? She laughed. No, Soldier would kill me if I mess with her clients. Nah, her thing and my things are separate. I wanted to know what Soldier was doing up there in that apartment with all those men. I wanted to understand it. I wanted to hear what was she saying. What was making them listen to her? Did she tell Midnight the same thing she was telling them? What was the hustle, the technique? What could she tell a man as fine as Midnight that would keep him under her spell? Did she meet him at one of those meetings? I wanted to ask Lauren, but she warned me already. I didn't want to set her off. That might stop the flow of information completely. I waited a while and figured how to get it another way. The men's meeting ended around 10. We were back in the house an hour later. I had a feeling GS was coming, so I got ready. First, I showered, seated on the bed with a towel wrapped around my body and a towel wrapped around my hair. I twisted the paper towel. Carefully, I rolled and weaved it in and out of each toe to prepare for the panic curve I was about to give myself. Going somewhere? Lauren asked. Nah, this is just my routine. I like to keep myself nice. I hate the way old chipped nails polish look on fingernails and toes. Lauren glanced at her own fingers. She quickly tried to cover her two fingers with the chipped nail polish. Who was she fooling? I had already noticed her nails days ago. She sat on her bed and proceeded to watch me. As I blocked her out, my hands worked furiously to perfect the French panicure. Damn, your hands are steady, Lauren said. If that would have been me, I would have never got the line straight. Then she did it. Can you do my feet next? Now, the long pause between her question and my response should have been enough of an answer. But this chick seriously expected me to touch, clean, and design her crusty toenails. Funny thing, I can do my own, but I can't seem to do nobody else's, I told her. Well, then do my hands. I'm sure you can figure out how to do that, she said, being too pushy for my taste. So I did my toes, her hands, and my hair. I shaved my underarms, trimmed my pussy hairs into a cute little design. Convincing Lauren that everything was regular, I tried on some of the outfits I purchased early this week. When all the styling tactics were used up, I put on some short shorts and a baby tee with no bra. Flipping through Lauren Takes a CD collection, I picked out a mixtape. With each cut playing came a memory. Music just had that kind of power. I thought about all the fun I used to have in Brooklyn. I shivered just thinking about how all my friends just turned on me, one by one, and when DJ SNS slowed the beat down, the slow jams put me in a state. I started thinking about various sexual positions and how they made my body feel. Then the pressure came between my legs. It's crazy. I thought how getting my hustle on had nearly wiped out my sex life. When Daddy was out, oh, Daddy, everything was smooth and safe. He took care of everything. All my energy could just go to fun stuff. Now I was uptight, backed up, and definitely going to get fucked, sucked, and lit real soon. Lauren turned the music down. Sasha, can you get the door? I rolled my eyes like it was a problem. I didn't even bother to turn the light switch for the staircase on. In the dark, I stepped swiftly and softly down the 5 flights of steps. Loosening my top button on my Daisy Dukes, I let the zipper come down. The light wind that rushed through the door when I opened it made my nipples hard. They stuck out through my baby teeth. My nipples might as well have been eyes, because when that door opened, that was GC first look. Yeah, Soldier here. Do you see me standing here? I asked him in a pushy but sexy way. Well, damn, how can I say no to that question? He asked with his sexy smile and white teeth. Well, why don't you ask me my name? I demand. He stood there, his eyes filling down to my Ralph Lauren panties, which were discreetly exposed under my shorts. Why don't you just tell me? He said with that masculine force that gets me hot every time. It's Sasha. When you come here next time, if there is a next time, you say what's up to Sasha, then you can handle the rest of your business. Is that right? He asked, looking like he didn't mind joking around at all. As he stepped through the door, he asked, what's up with the lights? I'll show you up, I said, gently taking his hand, using one finger to run across the inside of his palm, because I knew it would get him going. I walked in front of him, leading the way as if it was his first time in the house. When we got to the third floor, I pulled his hands and placed it on my waist. His fingers gripped the neck skin between the top of my shorts and the bottom of my baby's teeth. On the last step, I dropped him like a hot potato, turned around and said flatly, "I'll get Soldier for you. Wait right here." She came out with a big smile on her face. Happy to see him, I guess. She noticed nothing. I went right into my room, shut the door, and sat down. Lauren looked at my titties, and in a half of 1 second, she said, "Yeah, I don't even have to ask who was at the door." We were awakened early the next morning as Soldier stood in between me and Lauren's bed. I thought to myself, damn, is this bitch a crackhead vampire? She stays up all night. In the morning, you're looking at her like, did you ever go to sleep? I want you to come with me, get dressed. On the train, the destination will be revealed. We were on our way to Rikers Island women's prisons. What for, I asked. I have to speak to some young sisters behind bars. What are you going to tell them? I asked, really want to know. I don't know, she said. I move on a vibe. Whatever I feel when I see what I see is what I say. Just like that, I said. She nodded yes. And what was probably a bold mood in her eyes, I asked. And how much does this speech pay? Somewhat surprised, she responded, nothing. When I speak at prisons, high school, and community places, it don't cost anything. Well, then how do you make money? I push. Different ways. I do projects also. When I speak at colleges, they pay me well. How well? Very well, she said. And all you got to do is say what you feel. That sounds easy. How can I get down? It's not that simple, she said. You have to be talking about something that is important to people in their lives. You have to study, read, work, and watch and interact with people. When you master a particular field, then your words, knowledge, and insight becomes valuable. You know what I mean? I indicated yes and stayed inside. I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean. You're saying you can do it, but I can't. That's bullshit. I know more about what's going on in the street than she does. I'm sure know more about a lot of shit than she does. I'm going to finish this out. It's going to be a little long. It's not that simple, she said. You have to be talking about something that is important to their lives. You have to... Okay, I read it. Okay. We didn't take the normal visit route into Rikers. We went through the entrance the correction officers used. We were searched. Beads of sweat began to gather as I placed my purse on the conveyor belt. One of the officers took my box cutter, saying politely that I couldn't bring it inside. He was taking it to protect me from the prisoners. They cannot be trusted, he said. It was bugging me out to see how they treated Soldier and us, her guests versus how they treated you when you came to visit the prison. The officer who was leading the way began to introduce Soldier to all the other officers. They were smiling, shaking hands, giving her props and all that fake shit. The officer in charge said, the women who you are going to speak to today are all HIV positive. They are in a separate wing of the room. For the first time I met her, Soldier face appeared to be uncomfortable. With her eyebrows screwed out of position, she questioned the officer, didn't you say I will be talking to adolescent women today? Yes, he said, I did, and I have to apologize to you. I didn't get the proper paperwork to my superior officer in time. He wouldn't give me a clearance for you to speak to the adolescent women today. I can arrange it for some later date, but believe me, Sister D woman needed to hear from you. Now all of our eyeballs are bouncing around. I'm asking myself, Winter, what the fuck are you doing here involved in this mess? Soldier asked the officer, can I use the ladies' room first? The officer said, sure, right this way. Come on, y'all, she said, making it clear that we were to follow closely behind. In the bathroom, it was just us three. Oh, no, Soldier said, placing her hands in her face. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't know we were going to the HIV wing. Well, what's the matter, Lauren asked. Can we catch it or something? They say that you cannot catch it except through the blood or bodily fluids, but I never trust what they say anyway. I'm just surprised. I'm nervous. Soldier leaned against the sink and looking into the mirror. I thought you worked with AIDS people, I said. I thought you were giving a benefit for people with AIDS. She smiled nervously and said, yes, I work with professional people who work with AIDS patients. And yes, I give money, but I never had to knowingly touch nobody with AIDS. I never had to be in a small room confined with them. I never had to see the effect of what the nasty disease does to a person's body. It's different. It's different things. Then she splashed water on her face, looked in the mirror, and said, I don't know what to say to them. This one will be left to God. I pray that I receive a message to give. She took a deep breath. Now, if you were one of those corrections officers, you would never have guessed what went in that bathroom. When we got back out into the hall, she stood confidently on her 2 feet as if she never broken down in the toilet. When we entered the room to the wing, we were standing in the middle of the huge room. The beds were narrowed in and very close together. There had to be about 100 beds. The first thought I had looking at these women was, this is a waste of time. These chicks are finished. Most of them were lying down on their beds doing nothing. Their bodies were thin and withered. Their faces were sunken in like many crackheads I had seen back in Brooklyn. Some of them had fresh bruises and stitches. Some of them had black eyes and blotches. Most of them had big, ugly, plaited braids like dykes. They were in bad need of hygiene and in fashion rescue mission. When they saw a soldier, most of them had no reaction at all. In fact, it was the military voice of the man-built female CEOs that got them dragging their half-eaten bodies out of bed and into the room. Soldiers stood, wringing her hands nervously and looking bewildered. I chuckled to myself, go ahead, smarty pants, get yourself out of this one. And now you're on the front line. The women were quiet. Many of them looked in disinterest. After all, they had no choice but to be there. They really were a captive audience. When Soldier didn't say anything, the CEO in front of the room cleared her throat loudly and said, go ahead, they're all yours. Good luck. Soldier looked over their faces for 2 whole minutes. She said nothing. Then it came out. I can tell that all of you used to be very pretty women. I can look at your face and see that you once were somebody's sweetheart, somebody's love, somebody's life. And I know when you were younger, you thought about being beautiful was the best thing in the world. But really, we women don't have to do anything to be beautiful. It's a gift from God. The woman is somewhere along the line. Many of us as women are led to believe that being pretty is enough. And while we rely on that, we forget to strengthen our minds so that we can learn how to think, how to build, how to survive. We forget how to live our lives to protect our spirit, to be clean and decent. We forget that everything we do matters too much. Every night decision brings us blessings. Every wrong decision brings us pain. And then when time gets hard, our struggles and our pain shows on our face and our bodies. When people see our pains and weakness in our face, they say, she used to be fine, she used to be this, she used to be that. When men feel our beauty has faded, we become shocked at how well they ignore us and forget us. We'll do anything to get that attention, money, love. Can I suck your dick? Can I do anything? Can I? When we hate ourselves, we destroy our bodies with alcohol, drugs, casual sex, and a bunch of stuff. Then we look at ourselves and hate ourselves even more. When I first came in here, I said, what will I say to these women? They are all dying. When I looked at your faces, I thought to myself, what had they done to themselves? But in spite of everything, your children love you. Your daughter needs you. Your son misses you. We need you to live. We need you to want to live. What is a community without you, the mothers? What will a community of motherless children be like? Killers, haters, evil, negative, mad at the world, unable to love, hug, and live because they hate themselves. Because they needed you to teach them how to feel, how to love, how to just be. So when you look in the mirror, don't see death, see life. Don't see ugly, see beauty. It may not seem like it, but you are powerful. A change of mind, a change of spirit, and a change of action can create a new you. You are needed. We need you to make the rest of your life mean something special. We need you to take good care of yourself and each other so those of us who love and need you can still have you back in our homes, our communities. Yes, there is much to live for. And when I looked up, everyone's eyes were filled with tears, not mine. I hated her for making me think about my mother. I hated the way she thought she could get her everybody personal business. I hated whatever it was in her that gave her the nerve to say out loud what everyone else thought, but had sense not to mention. She hugged those women. When she forgot to hug one, they would ask for a hug. She gave it to them. She shook their sweaty hands and stood still while the ones with many missing teeth accidentally spit in her face while attempting to express herself. She gave out pamphlets, book lists, advice, and too many autographs. After what was way too long of a wait, we three went straight home. One by one, we took long hot showers right away. Whew, and I'll be back, y'all, next week with chapter 13. Bye, y'all.